A friend of mine has a father who did everything right. He worked 60-hour weeks for 30 years.
He never missed a mortgage payment.
He maxed out his 401k the moment the office manual told him to. And at 50 years old, he found himself sitting in a lawyer's office for the third time, signing his third divorce settlement, watching half of everything he'd built get split down the middle, again.
He wasn't reckless.
He wasn't lazy. He didn't blow his paycheck on nonsense, and he certainly wasn't buying $5 lattes every morning. And yet, at an age when he should have been coasting towards retirement, he was starting completely over, from close to zero, for the third time in his life. Here's the thing that story taught me, and it's the whole reason I'm making this video. The things that actually destroy your net worth are almost never the things personal finance content obsesses over. It's not your morning coffee.
It's not the $10 you spent on lunch. You could cut out every latte for the next 30 years, live off rice and eggs, and it still wouldn't matter half as much as the 9 decisions I'm about to walk you through. Because these are the ones that quietly, structurally, and repeatedly drain people in their 20s and 30s without them ever noticing it happening.
Nobody posts about them. Nobody writes a budgeting app category for them.
So let's go through them, one at a time, with the real math behind each one. Number 1, staying in the wrong city. This sounds almost too simple to matter, but geography might be the single most consequential financial decision most people never think twice about. Here's why. Your very first salary becomes the anchor for every single negotiation that follows for the rest of your career. Picture 2 people with identical degrees, identical GPAs, identical work ethic. One takes a job in a city with a median income of $69,000, say Kansas City. The other moves to Austin, where the median climbs toward $90,000, or San Francisco, where it can clear $135,000. 5 years from now, they are not on the same trajectory. They are not close to the same trajectory. Every future raise, every future job offer gets negotiated as a percentage move off that original base. So the gap doesn't just persist, it compounds. And yes, cost of living rises too, but if you keep your expenses disciplined, you pocket the gap, instead of the gap pocketing you. There's actually a well-known example of this playing out at the extreme. Italian workers who cross the border daily into Switzerland, work in a gold refinery for Swiss wages, then drive home each night to live in Italy, where the cost of living is a fraction of it. That's geographic arbitrage in its purest form, and it works at any scale. And it's not just about the paycheck, it's about who you're standing next to. The best introductions, the unlisted job openings, the rooms where opportunity actually gets passed around by word of mouth, those rooms exist in specific cities. And if you're not physically in one of them during your 20s and 30s, you're simply not getting invited, no matter how good your resume looks on paper. Number 2, hoarding your emergency fund. Now, a 3 to 6 month cash cushion is smart. Nobody's arguing against that. But somewhere along the way, smart tips into something else. A scarcity mindset that quietly convinces people to sit on $80, $100, even $167,000 in cash, telling themselves it's just being responsible. That's not 6 months of safety. That's 16 to 24 months. Let's do the actual math on what that costs you. Say your expenses run $4,000 a month. A 6-month cushion is $24,000, completely reasonable. A 16-month cushion ties up $64,000. That extra $40,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account, earning maybe 3.5%, instead of being invested at the market's historical 8 to 9%, will cost you roughly $145,000 in lost compounding growth over the next 20 years. Read that number again. Being too careful with your cash is itself one of the most expensive mistakes on this entire list, and it's the one people feel the proudest of while they're making it. Safety has a price tag, and almost nobody ever actually calculates it. Number 3, and this is the one from the story I opened with, divorce. The United States has the 6th highest divorce rate in the world. 40 to 50% of first marriages end. That number jumps to 60% for second marriages, and 73% for third marriages, and yet only 15% of couples ever sign a prenup. You'd think, with odds close to a coin flip, more people would protect themselves on paper. They don't. Here's what people underestimate. The legal fees alone routinely clear $20,000, but that's the cheap part. The real damage is structural, being forced to sell a house at the worst possible moment in the market or refinance it under pressure. unwinding a shared business, splitting a retirement account through a court order that can trigger taxes and early withdrawal penalties. Add in moving costs and dividing every physical asset you own, and you're often looking at $50,000 to over $100,000 gone, enough to erase an entire decade of disciplined saving in a single legal proceeding that takes maybe 18 months from start to finish. Number 4, trying to look rich.
You know the highlight reel. The car, the vacation photos, the outfit. What you don't see is that the car is a lease he can barely afford. The outfit was borrowed for the photo, and the apartment is eating 60% of his take-home pay before a single bill gets paid.
There's a term for this in Texas, the 30K millionaire, someone making $30,000 a year who still finds a way to book the VIP table at the club to look important, and then can't actually afford to order a drink once he's sitting there. Here's the pattern, and it holds up almost every time. The people working hardest to look wealthy usually have the least actual wealth. The people who are actually wealthy tend to live quietly, almost invisibly, below their means. The kind of person whose house you'd drive past without a second glance, who happens to own it outright. Number 5, chasing salary instead of equity. If you're at a startup or a pre-IPO company, and you're offered the choice between a bigger paycheck now or meaningful equity later, most people take the cash because cash feels real and equity feels abstract, like a lottery ticket instead of a paycheck. But one successful equity outcome can outperform a decade of base salary, easily. The trick is knowing how to actually value what you're being offered. Take your share count, divide it by total shares outstanding, and multiply that percentage against a realistic valuation. Own 1.1% of a company that eventually IPOs at $100 million? That's an instant $100,000 payday for a piece of paper you almost traded away for an extra few $100s a month in your paycheck. Number 6, sitting on the sidelines. Waiting for the market to cool off, waiting for the perfect entry point. It feels responsible, disciplined even, but inflation is eroding your purchasing power the entire time you're waiting for permission to invest. Time in the market consistently beats timing the market, and the data on this is almost unfair. $10,000 invested in the S&P 500 from 1996 to 2025, left alone the entire time through every crash and every recovery, grows to over $192,000. But miss just the 10 best performing days in that 30-year window, and your gains drop by 56%. Miss the 30 best days, and you've wiped out 84% of your total growth. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Those best days almost always land right in the middle of the scariest looking downturns, within days of the worst headlines, which means the exact moment you're most tempted to sit it out is usually the moment you can least afford to. Number 7, what I'll call sunk cost loyalty. You like your coworkers, the commute is short, everything feels comfortable and familiar, so you stay, year after year. But your employer is not going to volunteer to pay you your full market value. That's simply not how compensation works, no matter how good your annual review sounds. Start at $60,000, take the standard 3% raise roughly every 2 years, and a full decade later, you're sitting at around $70,000. Compare that to job hopping every 1 to 2 years early in your career, which resets your baseline salary every single move, like restarting a race from farther up the track each time. Studies consistently show job switchers see average pay jumps over 11% and sometimes north of 30%. Loyalty is a nice value to hold personally. It is a genuinely expensive one to practice with your paycheck. Number 8, high interest debt. Not all debt is the enemy here. A mortgage, a student loan with real return on investment behind it, those are calculated leverage, tools rather than traps. Credit card debt is a different animal entirely. Average APRs pushed past 22% in 2026, which means a $10,000 balance is quietly costing you around $185 a month in pure interest. Money that produces nothing, builds nothing, and simply funds a payment on something you already bought, and in most cases have probably already forgotten about by now. And number 9, buying too much car. This one hides in plain sight because the sticker price is never the real price. Insurance, maintenance, gas, and depreciation stack quietly on top of it every single month. The average new car in 2026 runs past $51,000, with payments landing around $750 a month. But once you add the hidden costs, true ownership routinely clears $1,000 a month. Now picture investing that same $1,000 instead at an 8% return. In 10 years, that's over $183,000, sitting quietly in an account,
growing while you sleep. The alternative isn't misery either. A reliable 3-year-old used car with around 30,000 miles on it runs closer to $537 a month, and it still feels brand new from behind the wheel.
Invest just the $213 difference every month for a decade, and you've added another $39,000 to your net worth, while still driving something you're proud to park outside your house. So here's the actual pattern underneath all 9 of these. None of them show up on a bank statement labeled Wealth Killer. They show up as a city you never left, a cash cushion you felt proud of, a relationship you didn't protect on paper, a car payment that felt totally normal at the time. They're quiet.
They're socially acceptable. Nobody at a dinner party is going to raise an eyebrow at your emergency fund or your loyalty to your employer.
And that's exactly what makes them so much more dangerous than a daily coffee habit ever could be. A $5 latte announces itself. A 16-month emergency fund never does. If this changed how you think about even one of these 9, hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments which one hit closest to home. Because I guarantee you, at least one of these 9 is happening in your life right now, quietly, and you probably haven't noticed it yet either.